Choosing a bottled Starbucks Frappuccino drink that's all flavor and just 100 calories? Easy. Choosing between creamy vanilla, double chocolate, and sea salt caramel flavors? A little harder. Try the delicious new Starbucks Frappuccino light drinks. Look for them wherever you buy groceries. Start with Starbucks coffee.
Today on CityCast Denver. Is Do Better Denver about to go mask off? The social media account known for filming unhoused people has grown into an online movement. Plus, bike lanes, bike lanes, bike lanes. And of course, our wins and fails of the week. Today is Friday, August 1st. I'm Bree Davies, and here's what Denver's talking about. Welcome to CityCast Denver, the show about the city where just like Paris, Berlin, Rotterdam, Chicago, and Warsaw, we're getting our own downtown spiral tower, which I keep reading as the downward spiral, which is just like a great Nine Inch Nails record, but that is not what we're talking about. Paul, this is like not new news, but I finally looked at the image of this thing that is not actually special to Denver. They're all over the world.
Describe it. What is it?
It's actually like an amusement park ride.
Wait, where is it?
What are we talking about?
Where am I? The downward spiral, the downtown spiral, the tower.
This is what it is. No one knows what this is.
I feel like I've been to Paris and I don't think I've seen this.
It says there's one in Paris, Berlin. They're all over the world. It's the tower of the Eye of Sauron is what you
How
called
big
it.
is it? How tall is it?
673 feet, 673 feet tall. It would be the fourth tallest structure in the city and state. I thought it was like an office tower that they're building, but it's actually just like, and it has these little pods on it that go up in a spiral to the top, and then they go down. That's what it does.
Oh, it's like a place to see stuff.
It's an attraction.
Okay, got it. I thought we had that sort of at Elitch's, Tower of Little Doom.
That's
a good tower.
Exactly my thought.
They should put it at Elitch's, actually. Revitalize that area.
I think that's going to get torn down.
I know.
This is going to be it now.
Investment in Elitch's. That downtown Main Street, lot of vacancies.
Save Elitch's.
I love that downtown Main Street. I actually wish they would save it.
I know you all have been hyping Lakeside, but I feel like Elitch's. I feel like that's a core member for a lot of Denver folks.
I'm there for it. I'm ready. Old Elitch's, new Elitch's has become Old Elitch's for me. I have some of those nostalgic feelings for it.
Oh, crazy thing. I was just scrolling on my TikTok and it came up about top 10 water parks in America.
Mm-hmm.
And in the top 10 was Waterworld up in like Thornton.
Yeah.
I was like, how? In what world have I not visited enough water parks? Is it that we are actually amazing or are they all that bad?
I mean, I think it's like sheer size too. It's huge. You know what I mean? It's like acres and acres of land would be what maybe makes it great is the amount of attractions. My complaint is it's too crowded. So you get to ride like 2 rides when you're there all day. But
yeah,
I don't know.
But Denver, we can become amusement city. This spiral can be part of it.
I wish that for us. I don't know if that's really going to happen.
In the winter, you're here for your outdoor destinations.
Right.
In the summer, you're here for janky to world-class amusement rides.
Yes, this is it has transparent cabins that allow passengers a 360-degree view of the city. So it is.
So you're in like a pod
mm-hmm.
and then it's like moving you up the tower?
It goes around the tower and then it goes to the top and you do a circle and then your pod goes back down.
How long is the round trip on this?
That's a really good question. I don't know. I'm guessing like
Who's
a couple
paying
minutes.
For this? Is this in the bond?
Do people want this? Yeah, no,
it's a private developer. I think
it just says viaduct replacement / spiral.
Honestly, I would not be surprised if that was something that got snuck into the bond.
There's a lot of stuff in there, and
this is a transit project.
We're talking a lot about some of the items, and almost none about a lot of the items.
There's a lot of bigger ones in there.
It's possible that it could be the spiral.
The thing is, they might even do a little ballad language at the end that is like, also whatever we really want, because a lot of counties.
That's kind of the vibe of the bond. It's like, we're going to kind of do whatever we want.
We are doing Vibrant Denver, so.
It's true. Vibrant Denver. I got it. Well, it's Friday. I'm Bree Davies. We're in the beautiful Dude IDK Studios in 5 Points. You've heard their voices. Producer Paul Caroli is here. Hi, Paul.
Hey, everybody.
and one of our favorite regulars, the guy who brings us all the hot political goss, Doxxing Badesha. Hi.
Hey, how's it going? I don't even know what this camera is. I feel like it's facing
Wherever you
There
want.
it is.
It's
There
wherever
it is.
you want it to be. Before we get into it, we've got a little bit of business. We have a membership program. You can become a CityCast Denver neighbor right now for $10 a month and support the work that we do right here. For that small sum, you get an ad-free podcast feed. You get a thank you on air from us on the show and invites to members-only events, which we have one coming up, right, Paul?
We're planning a really good one for the end of August. You're going to want to hear about this one.
So sign up today, membership.citycast.fm, and you'll get an invite to that upcoming event where you get to hang out with us.
I might also take a second to point out, and listeners, you know me, I'm a bargain hunter, always looking for a deal.
You are.
There is a bargain available here.
Okay.
Bree said $10 a month or $100 for a year. If you prepay for the year of membership, you get a discount.
That's pretty nice.
A good discount.
Yeah.
That's
So,
2 months free.
yeah. Sign up now.
Some say 2
Some
months
say.
free.
So just $100, you can support the work that we do. Again, we are a very small team, and it means so much to us that folks are invested in the work that we do and that you listen every day. So again, membership.citycast.fm and sign up to be a neighbor.
Like a good neighbor, CityCast is there.
Oh, no, that we're going to have legal problems.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
No, we're going to have
That's
to
good.
cut
Oh,
that
that's
out.
awful.
Cut that
Yeah,
out.
my
Cut
bad.
that out.
Yes.
Cut that out.
All right. Let's get to
Do
our...
they actually trademark that? You think?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm sure they do. I guess we'll find out.
I mean, it is a parody. You're allowed to do it.
They're probably very litigious on YouTube, like music companies. Well, let's get to our first story. Do better, Denver. That's it. That's the story.
We should. You know, they're right about that one thing. It would be nice if we were doing better.
Oh, Denver should do better?
Yeah. I mean, sure.
End of story. That's
Good.
it.
I agree.
That's all we
Do
have.
better.
We're all trying, right?
Should we explain what Do Better
Yes,
Denver
I
is?
was just going to say for
those-
folks that aren't very online, like some of us in this room, it's a Twitter and Instagram account known initially. I mean, at least when we started paying attention to it, it was really well known for taking non-consensual photographs of folks on the streets in crisis, and it has evolved sort of into this whole other thing that kind of came to a head today, or this week, I'm sorry. But Deep, is there anything else you want to say about how to characterize this entity?
Part of me feels like it's been the slow decline of the website formerly known as Twitter, also known as X. But they've been also popping on Instagram. There's a little bit of stuff on Reddit. Like you said, it's these folks who call themselves citizen journalists, but they hide behind this like anonymity, and they really do post photos without people's consent, oftentimes of folks who are going through a mental health crisis. You can see from these videos. Sometimes they're not even wearing clothing. Something disastrous is happening, and they post it and say, hey, look, Denver, you have a problem. This is going on. There's always this like thinly veiled like racist or sexist language that's always thrown in. And again, they hide behind this thing that they're like whistleblowing, right? That they're putting it out there that what Denver's like. But Denverites aren't blind to what's happening, right? We're a compassionate city and we're trying to fix this. Like we've been trying to put hundreds of millions of dollars towards homeless relief and shelters and all that. But the way they do it in the disguise of journalism really is just like shaming and bullying and offers no solutions.
Yeah.
That was our criticism for quite a while, was that they offer no solutions. And that, I think we actually have to give it to them, is that the last time that we pointed this out, the last time we talked to them, they did post in response. They called us ShittyCast, and they addressed
baby.
ShittyCast.
Oh, nice.
And said, I know, we're very proud.
You're lucky if you get a nickname. Not everybody does.
Lucky. I don't know. But they did post, they have some ideas. They had policy proposals. It was like bail reform. They want to eliminate harm reduction stuff. You know, nothing you'd be surprised by. It's the voice of the conservative suburbs to me. It's the id of the conservative suburbs.
And the thing is, like, it is fascinating to me is one of the things that was happening, I guess we're jumping to this, the Denver Post.
Let's talk about it, because this is like the big thing that's come to a head this week, is this sort of face-off with the Denver Post. I don't know if face-off is the right word, but how would you characterize it, Deep?
If you have the journalist's name, I forgot.
Shelley Bradbury.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shelley Bradbury.
She's a Denver Post journalist. I guess she's been calling around trying to figure out, hey, who's behind these accounts, who's contributing to it. Because again, they label themselves as citizen journalists, but then they are oftentimes putting stuff on there that might not be true. Like, hey, there's an active crime happening right here, and there's not. There's an active fire happening here, and there's not. So there's a lack of accountability that comes with the anonymity, right? And I think like a good journalist, you're like, hey, this become a very popular account, has a couple tens of thousands of followers, sometimes gets millions of views.
121,000 on Instagram.
Yeah, like we should find out who's behind this. I've been calling around. I think from what they've been posting, that 3 of the contributors behind Do Better Denver are going to be unveiled in a Denver Post article that's coming up, and they're screaming that this is doxing, that this is going to endanger them. It's going to be dangerous for their private lives and all that. To which I'm a question is, I know a lot of journalists who actively call out corruption all the time. I'm in the progressive left space, and all we do is call out the corruption at the federal level, right? Right now, we have a federal administration that is arresting people for memes. You can't get it on an airplane if you have a J.D. Vance meme, right? There are people being arrested for their free speech around Palestine, and people are doing it with their real names, and they're doing it out there. And the idea that this like conservative account would feel like, oh, we're the victims here because we're about to be doxxed because of all the false stuff we post. Like, listen, there are conservative commentators who actually have very similar beliefs to you. Like, Jeff Hunt has been on the show before.
Yeah.
Jeff Hunt is a conservative person, has a large radio talk show. I've been on his show before.
He had an extremely bad take on disability this week. Just want to put that out there.
He has these takes, and he does it publicly.
Yes,
and his life has not been canceled. The idea that this account deserves some sort of like anonymity and protection for all the things they're saying without verification, I'm not sure if that's. But maybe you all feel differently.
No,
Yeah,
it is a good question. What is their right to anonymity? I don't think there is such a right in this country. I don't think this right exists. There is a law that some of these Do Better Denver people who were posting quite a bit about this alleged Denver Post story, which, by the way, the Denver Post
has not
says they do not comment on ongoing reporting. So I talked to I emailed one of the editors and heard that. So whether or not there is an article, we do not know. We just know that Do Better Denver says there is, and they are wrong about a lot of stuff. So where was it?
there was a tweet from this 9mm News, which is like a 9 News joke account. But yes, so there's this law. They said in this tweet, we reached out to Attorney General Phil Weiser, who is running for governor, to ask if he plans to sue Denver Mayor Mike Johnston and Shelley Bradbury, the reporter at the Denver Post, for violating Colorado's anti-doxing law, CRS 189313. And you looked into this law.
Well, yeah,
right,
I just
Paul?
looked up the law, and there's a list of protected persons. It's stuff like reproductive health care workers. It's like people whose anonymity would be, important to protect. And it does not include social media provocateurs on the list. So yes, there are laws against doxing and swatting in this country, but it's those acts. There's no like right to privacy for this. However, the question of whether or not the journalist is doing something fair or like within the bounds of their work, if there's a public interest in knowing the identity of this person, that's an interesting question to me.
And so actually interesting, I was working for the Colorado House Democrats when this law was being passed right after I clerked for the Colorado Supreme Court. So I am an attorney, even though I don't seem like one. And I remember when these doxing laws were coming up, and this was coming up after COVID, when a lot of health workers, teachers, all these people were being doxed as like, hey, this county elections official is rigging the election, or like, hey, this person's requiring you to have the vaccine. And there was a tremendous amount of doxing of like local workers, right, and threats. There was a lot of interesting questions that came up about doxing and whether it's protected speech under the First Amendment. And a lot of people actually think it is. This law has not actually been challenged yet. And if it is challenged, I'm not sure if it would survive court scrutiny. And I was one of the members on staff. I'm like, hey, guys, I understand this is good and we want to protect workers. And there's various ways you can do that. But I'm not sure if there's actually a legal means to stop someone from publishing someone's address online.
That's fascinating.
If it's not tied to a threat. If it's a threat, that falls under a different kind of criminal law.
Well, and Paul, like you were saying, like, is it reasonable for a reporter to be looking into this because is it a big enough of a situation that the public has the right to know? And I would say if I was
an interest to know.
An interest to know. I'm sorry, an interest to know.
It's just my opinion.
Well, I would say as someone, if I was someone in one of those videos, I would feel like I would like to know who that is that's doing that to me, that's putting my image out there under their own context. I don't know how that would stand up.
I think another argument for the public interest in their identity would be, is this a political operative? Is this a paid operation, some kind of like specific scheme to change the discourse, like we had around the 2016 election with all these Russian bots on Facebook that intentionally inflamed tensions in this country that perhaps led to Donald Trump being elected president? Like, is that what's happening with Do Better Denver? I think the public does have a right to know because, in my opinion, Do Better Denver this week has become the most significant political movement in conservative Colorado's recent history since the rise of Lauren Boebert. I think this is a cohering moment for conservatives, and they have been lacking this for a long time.
So you're saying versus like a grassroots group of vigilantes as Do Better Denver, to me, presents themselves.
Both.
Okay.
It's yes and both.
You have to ask themselves why they want anonymity, right? They want anonymity because they said like Mike Johnson's going to go after them somehow, right? Or the real thing that if you read between their posts, is they look like they have private jobs somewhere.
They don't want to get fired.
Company, and they don't want to get fired. But if you were actually just doing normal journalism and normal reporting, like, hey, Denver's corrupt. Hey, this is what's happening. Those things are pretty protected. The things that are not protected are the gross things you're doing, where you're posting pictures without people's consent, you're reporting false crimes, you're making a storm out of things. That's where the real liability comes from, right? And I think it actually does make sense for someone like the Denver Post, someone like the Colorado Sun, to be investigating these folks. And again, I will emphasize this one more time. My friends on the progressive left, I'm on Twitter with my whole ass name out there, right? People dox me all the time. They're like, hey, this is the person's address. Maybe we should pay him a visit. That happens.
What do you think about their claim of doxing then? Because if you've had this experience directly.
I think, well, everything's kind of a public record, right? Like if you're out there as a public figure, you can probably find someone's address pretty quickly. And it is very worrisome with the rise of political violence as we've seen across this country, whether it was the elected officials that you've seen in Minnesota or the different activists that have been targeted by the Trump administration. But this idea is like, conservatives and Republicans sometimes be like, oh, we're the brave ones. We're the courageous ones, right? But you're the people with masked ICE officers, right? These ICE officers are wearing masks because they don't want to be doxxed, right? Which I think that's a fascist police state. Like if your cops don't have identifying information on that, that's a secret police, right? And Do Better Denver is in the same ecosystem, like, oh, we're brave, we're courageous, we're out there. Well, if you're so brave and courageous, put your name on it. Progressives are, lefties are, and we're speaking against an active government that is arresting people in the streets, putting them in jail for their freedom of speech.
Not everyone. This is a trend at protests lately. More and more people are wearing masks. I mean, they're doing it for different reasons, but one of them is for this exact reason. To protect themselves.
Well, and I would say that's always been a contingent.
It's a trend on both sides.
But I don't think I don't think it's a trend by any means. I think that it's always been, that's a basic thing that folks that do protest quite a bit have always recommended, at least since I learned about it 15 years ago and getting involved in protesting, is always cover your face, cover your identifiable tattoos, don't take your phone with you at all.
I think it's a difference between being like on the boots on the ground activist who's showing up to a protest, maybe with a sign and just trying to be part of a crowd, versus someone like a movement leader, right? That wants to hide behind anonymity. And this happens, again, on the Republican conservative side a lot. Do you all remember QAnon? Mm-hmm. Right? QAnon was supposed to be this secret, shadowy figure operating in the dark, and they were pulling all these strings. And that ended up being a scam. So at the end of the day, Republicans might be getting scammed, like how you're saying is, what happens if this is just a billionaire or some sort of right-wing interest that is just trying to take down Denver? What happens if this account is run by our arch enemies at Salt Lake City to take down Denver?
Emily and Allie, we're on to you.
We need to know.
But okay, to that point, I want to read a tweet from Do Better Denver about this. Denver Post is about to jeopardize the safety and livelihood of at least 3 concerned citizens and, quote, contributors to Do Better Denver.
Can we pause on this? I would want. Presumably, these people talk to Shelley Bradbury, right?
I'm assuming that's how they know.
It's not like we don't know. They're saying that she's going to dox them. did interviews, right? But
I'm assuming she reached out to them for
Yeah,
comment, and
and they
so
talked
she
to her.
somehow tracked that these were the people.
I guess we'll see if the article comes out, if the alleged article comes out. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
Okay, so this tweet from Do Better Denver. Denver Post is about to jeopardize the safety and livelihood of at least 3 concerned citizens and, quote, contributors to Do Better Denver. Denver Post may make me, the singular person behind Do Better Denver, the next libs of TikTok. Didn't want that, but thanks, I guess.
The libs of TikTok creator just went to the White House. It's not like they got canceled. They became like a celebrity in the conservative space.
Do you think this is the end game, Paul?
I don't know. I mean, I think there's Do Better Denver in that message is kind of salivating over the possibility.
I thought that was what I read in that.
After Taylor Lorenz, the Washington Post journalist, did the reporting that unveiled that person's identity, whose name I don't remember, the Libs of TikTok account grew by hundreds of thousands of followers. So presumably that would be a good thing,
a benefit for them.
I mean, they're worried about violence and, people attacking them or whatever. So I don't know.
And it's again, I would take these concerns seriously if they weren't part of a movement that were like, that's like supporting a fascist authoritarian state, right? There's one
Well, don't you
movement-
think you can do both?
there could be like a libertarianist argument, right? If Do Better Denver was like, hey, we don't like mask officers on our street, we're blowing the whistle on ICE, we think what Trump's doing is wrong. Also, the mayor's corrupt, the city government's corrupt, talking about the bond. But it doesn't seem like that's their MO at all. I could see maybe there's like a carve out for like a whistleblower type of protections there, but I don't think that's what's happening. It's like clearly this account is trying to sow distrust, doesn't like to plays fast and loose with the rules and laws. So
And the
truth.
The truth.
That's the word I was looking for.
I was, Brie, you mentioned the word vigilante earlier. I was thinking about this last night, and I wrote down some quotes that might be familiar to some people. This is from a billionaire named Bruce Wayne, who said, "It's not who I am underneath, but what I do that defines me."
Did they quote that?
No, I'm quoting this. I just think this is a relevant counterpoint here. As a man, I'm flesh and blood. I can be ignored. I can be destroyed. But as a symbol, I can be incorruptible. I can be everlasting. I think that's why they want their anonymity. I think they know, just like the Libs of TikTok person, as soon as there's a face on it, it feels like smaller. Like we haven't even talked about this, but what happened in the wake of this, this alleged Denver Post reporting, outing these people, is there was an enormous outpouring of support for Do Better Denver from conservatives on X. And all of them,
and not just
like
random people, like
pretty
Heidi Ganahl's,
influential, serious people.
Political paper.
And what they were doing was, if you've ever seen the movie Spartacus, which tells the story of a slave rebellion in ancient Rome, Kirk Douglas, I think, plays Spartacus. And at one point he's captured and a bunch of other guys are there, but the Roman army doesn't know what he looks like. So they're like, we're looking for Spartacus. And then one by one, all of the slave soldiers say, I am Spartacus. And that's what happened with Do Better Denver this week. All of them were posting, hey, Shelley Bradbury, I'm Do Better Denver. I'm Do Better Denver too. This is the power of this movement. And this is why it's transcended this week into something bigger, into a real serious political movement for conservatives, is that it has become more than flesh and blood. It's a symbol. It's an incorruptible, everlasting symbol.
Okay, guys, I have something to admit. I think it's time.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh boy.
I am
boy.
Do Better Denver.
Oh my God.
Could you imagine if it's like actually a lefty progressive?
I would
Yeah,
not.
I
was
would
like a
be surprised.
satire.
I mean, that's like edgelord behavior to a T. Of course. Like, is Do Better Denver run by a weird lefty edgelord? Maybe.
I
It's a
hope
pretty
it's like a
con.
teenager in a foreign country who's just like, I don't even know. I've never visited Denver. I just decided.
Just punching into ChatGPT, like, what's the
It's a
most
rogue AI.
inflammatory thing I could be saying about downtown Denver today?
I like the idea that's a rogue AI would be kind of funny too.
A massive troll that's just an AI.
What would be the worst Colorado city for them to be from that we would be like, oh, of course. They feel
Windsor.
that way.
Windsor. Bobert Country.
Bobert
The
country.
capital of Bobert Country. Windsor, Colorado. That's or Castle Rock.
Have we?
I mean, that's what I
Wow,
imagine.
the disdain in your voice when you said Castle
be
Rock.
interesting.
Someone's
No,
never been
I love
shopping
Castle
there
Rock.
before.
I do like the chain restaurants. They got all of them down there. They got
I know. I
all
was like,
of
I
them.
was just down there the other day.
Maybe there's someone should make a parody account. Do better Denver.
We should do that.
Well,
Constantly
again,
fact check them.
as of
Yeah,
this
exhausting.
as of this recording, the Denver Post has not published a story. So I really want to make that clear.
It might come out literally on Friday. Watch this happen.
We have been literally refreshing and watching to see, is the story going to come out? But again, like Paul said, the editor said they can't comment on anything active that they're looking into. So we don't know, but I don't know.
Can I have one more Batman quote?
Yes. Before we go, Paul, your last Batman quote before we move on.
This is the butler guy. What's his name? What's the butler's name? Alfred. Thank you, Jacob.
I was going to say
Jacob.
Watson, but that's...
Alfred. Michael Caine as Alfred says, some men just want to watch the world burn. That's Do Better Denver.
Some edgelords just want to watch the world burn. It's true. Well, we'll be watching this. We're curious what you think. Who is Do Better Denver? Give us a call on the Who is Do Better Denver hotline, 720-500-5418. Give us your guesses. Everybody out there seems to be Do Better Denver. It's got to be somebody. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, bike lanes. It's time to go over to our CityCast Denver neighbor and sponsor of this week's episode, Elizabeth Martinez with Porchlight Real Estate Group, for our weekly segment, Navigating Denver Real Estate, to answer all of your Denver housing market questions.
This week's question, what should I do to prepare my home to sell if I plan to sell in the next 3 months? That is a great window to start prepping. Begin by decluttering and doing a deep clean, and maybe even purge. Closets, shelves, garage, all of it. Remember, you're moving. The sooner you get packing, the less you have to do right before the move anyway. Then look at small projects you've been meaning to do. You would be surprised at how many people have that I meant to do that project that always gets done right before we go to sell. If it's in the budget, fresh paint and updated or refinished flooring offers some of the highest returns on your investment. They really do help a home feel fresh and more move-in ready for the new buyer. Honestly, though, the best thing you can do early on is have an experienced agent walk through with you to spot what matters most and help prioritize your time and money. That is one of the biggest reasons why you hire an agent. Our expertise on what is selling in the market and for what price. Because when you hit the market, you only get one chance to make a good first impression.
This segment is sponsored by Elizabeth Martinez with Porchlight Real Estate Group. Have a question about Denver real estate? Use the link in the show notes to submit it. Elizabeth might answer your question in next week's segment.
Class is now in session, and the UPS Store is here to help you ace arriving on campus. Our certified packing experts can pack everything you need, from desktops to decor. Plus, when you pack and ship with us, you get our exclusive pack and ship guarantee. Your items arrive safe or your money back. Restrictions and limitations apply. To get a 20% off packing coupon and for full details, visit theupsstore.com/packing.
All right, we're back. Next hot topic, bike lanes. Council votes on final projects to be included in the bond on Monday. And there have been some changes this week, which actually pushed the bond price up to $950 million. Most notably related to this conversation, however, is the $18 million that was added for traffic calming measures on 13th and 14th Avenues from Colorado Boulevard to Quebec Street, which bike advocates have been asking for. But advocates are still saying there isn't enough when it comes to bike safety and infrastructure related projects in the bond, and just this greater conversation about how Denver approaches bike lanes under Johnston's leadership. Paul, you talked to June Churchill, the bike mayor, this week. What did June tell you? What are they talking about?
She told me the same stuff she's told every other outlet, and that generated all these articles from the bike people. I mean, that's the story of the week to me, is that in the words of Duke Leto Atreides of Dune, on Caladan we ruled with sea and air power. On Arrakis, we must scrabble for desert power. In Denver, you must contend with bike power. This is a week of bike power. The bike people totally scored a win by getting some money back in the bond. And it was thanks to the efforts of June Churchill and her colleagues in the Denver Bicycle Lobby that they got Councilwoman Amanda Sawyer to lobby for and get this money for these calming measures back in the bond. It's not as much as they asked for. They wanted the North Broadway bike lane as well, which would be, to me, the rest of the Broadway bike lane. But yeah, that's the story. Bike power. They got a small win in an otherwise difficult time.
Good for them. I mean, it takes energy to get someone to do that. It didn't happen overnight. So,
and I was looking at the bike project lanes right now. about this, from what I can still see, is that they're still gonna leave the bike lane that ends at 15th Street at Larimer Square.
Oh, really?
And I'm just like, why? How? That is the craziest bike lane in all of maybe the world. Maybe actually that's where the spiral should go. You just bike lane straight.
Oh my
Just right
God.
into it.
But like, you just go down 15th and it ends. You're 3 lanes of traffic. It's wild.
I mean, it's just like that perfect proof that the people that are implementing and designing these things are not.
How could they not
using
be
them.
fixing that?
Well, it's also the oldest part of the city. Like, I don't think they were planning Larimer Square.
But aren't there
for
like 4
bikes.
lanes across right there
It's
at
it's
least?
4 lanes across
that go
You
one
know,
direction?
Look, I biked it a lot. It's very dangerous. It's either number 1 or number 2 of the worst places to bike in the city, going back and forth with that stretch of the Cherry Creek Trail along First Avenue, which is being worked on. That's the other thing, is they are doing stuff. Like, the bike people were very noisy and they got some change made, but Donnie is continuing to work on bike lanes. After our interview with the mayor this week, I got a nice email from Amy Ford, the head of Dottie, who was like, you speculated about bike lanes being built. Here's our plan for the next 2 years. And it included several miles of new bike lanes, including a 5.5 mile bike lane on Kearney Street that I think some neighbors are pretty grumpy about. But they are doing this.
Yeah. I mean,
You know what's fascinating to me is how expensive bike lane infrastructure is. It doesn't
How
sound.
so?
It just doesn't feel like it should be that expensive just to put down some like bollards. Actually, we're not doing bollards anymore. We're doing fancy
right.
bumps.
What was it? The Denver
The Denver curb.
The Denver curb.
Well, that we asked the mayor about that because Paul asked the mayor why bollards were being taken out of existing bike lanes and replaced with these shorter, smaller things he called the quote Denver curb. And Paul was like, okay, can you explain why these are better? And I don't think that the mayor had a good explanation for that.
Also, I saw a photo of these, by the way. And so
They're
I
just,
listened.
go ahead.
So, like a
not
loyal
big.
CityCast Denver neighbor, I listen to every episode twice. Once on podcast, one on YouTube.
That sounds like a personal
I go
problem.
back, listen with the ads on. You know, I try to really help out.
Thank you.
Wow.
Anyway, so I listened to the Mike Johnson interview several times. I didn't do that. But the way he was describing the Denver curb
Yeah.
with the bike lanes, I was hyped. I was like, oh my God. They're like putting this whole strip in there and it's going to be like raised on the car side so they can't go in it all. And then like little kids won't fall off because it's going to be smoothed over. I had a vision of something out of like the future. I'm like, this is amazing. This is going to be revolutionary towards bikes.
And then you Googled it?
And then I saw the photos and I was like, what the hell? It's just like a little boop.
Well,
It's like maybe 3 inches, 2 inches off the ground. And it's just boop.
my problem is
Someone put up a photo in the YouTube.
We'll post a link in the show notes.
my problem with it is this also is talking about cars as if everybody's driving a Mini Cooper, and it's going to stop that. Everyone in my neighborhood drives a lifted Ford F-150. You could park on top of one of those and not even know you did it.
It's half Ford 150s and half Subarus.
Oh, it's not even. Oh, please. It's barely Subarus these
No
days.
Subarus?
Barely.
That's changing Denver.
I feel like it's bigger and higher, but I just I see people park on top of things bigger than this all the time. It didn't sound like a real barrier to me.
I am sad. Now that you said this Ford F-150 thing, it's true. I haven't seen a Subaru in a minute, but that used to be like our thing.
That data. We've talked about this. This is one of those things where I think the question is not is Subaru, I can't believe we're talking about this, but is Subaru the most popular car in Denver? Because it's not. The F-150 is the most popular car in Denver and everywhere else. But does Denver over-index for Subarus relative to other cities? I think would be the thing that proves the point. And that data I have not seen. I do not think that anyone has looked at that.
Back to bikes, though. Would you rather be hit by a Ford F-150 or a
God.
Subaru?
I mean,
I guess if a Ford F-150 hits you,
You're dead.
off of Larimer Square in 15.
You're dead.
Yeah.
You know,
You're dead.
That's over.
The Denver curb thing, he might have a point. It might be safer. It might be, that might be true. I don't know that. I haven't seen that data either. Speaking of things I haven't seen and don't know anything about. But the perception problem is the thing I was trying to ask him about, is because the bollards that they removed on Market Street in order to put in these new Denver curb things. Now, there still are some bollards, but removing those bollards, it decreases visibility. And visibility is important for the perception of safety. And the reason why that's important is so more people feel comfortable riding bikes instead of driving cars, which is what achieves our traffic goals. It's as much about climate resiliency as it is about traffic safety. And I think that's the piece of it that was missing in that conversation.
Yeah, I feel like we got a comment from one of our listeners about that very thing, the visual nature of it being missing now.
Yeah.
I think the most protected bike lanes are always the ones that have either it's a dedicated road that's just like buses and bikes, so it's like very limited traffic, or the bike lanes that are protected by a row of cars, right? Like if you're going down Broadway now, 14th is like this as well, is, you know, to get hit, you need to go through several cars. So that feels like it's the best.
Also, there's like cement sections between even the cars and the bike lanes. I think Broadway is a great example of what that true protection could look like.
I think it would be interesting if we just did these like bike corridors, essentially, that larger cities are experimenting with. A lot of cities in Asia do this. Many European cities do this. Mexico City actually does this as well. Mexico City, amazing bike infrastructure. Check it out. So just having a dedicated street that like this is where the bikes are. Everyone kind of knows where. And like you could do a Sherman up and down, right? Sherman could be one of those. 16th Street on the up.
But you know what?
Part.
What will keep us from that? What will keep us from getting there? Neighbors who can't park. Neighbors who can't park on their street.
Yep.
And that
there's so much street
be the
parking,
ultimate
though.
win out. I know. Oh yeah.
We just did the CityCast live show, or Colfax for the
Indy Bash.
The Indy Bash at Champagne Tiger. And my wife's pregnant, so normally we would just walk from our house because it's pretty close. But we're like, hey, we'll drive. So we drove, and there's so much street parking everywhere. And Colfax is under construction. So this, I think it's a myth. Ban parking. No more surface lots. Bike lanes everywhere.
Well, I don't know. I feel like
I need a liberal answer to Do Better Denver that's just posting pictures of empty parking lots and like be like, this bike infrastructure could be better.
I mean, as a biker, I gotta say, I think the bike conversation might be a little bit much. The bike lane thing.
You think?
It might be a little much. Like we have also heard from quite a few listeners, and you hear from people at meetings, like it's not just cranks in their neighborhood and business owners complaining. It's like people who just like don't want the street to be used that way, or they don't want the space taken up for that way. And it's a legitimate thing. You know, if your commute is 2 minutes longer, that's 2 minutes out of your day. You know, it adds up over the course of hundreds of thousands of people over a course of a year, of a lifetime of a city. It's not nothing to say, oh, why can't we have a bike lane? I mean, I understand the safety concerns are serious and bikers are dying on the streets, and that's a horrible outcome. But I think that it's not illegitimate, the other side of this. It's reasonable people with reasonable concerns.
Well, why don't we read a comment from someone that kind of, I think, talks a little bit about that. Cranky Old Queer writes, and another thing, since when is the bike lobby not heard in this town? It's all we hear. And in my
Bike
neighborhood,
power.
half a block off East Colfax, the experimental bike paths on Kearney and Cremeria change on the regular with pinch points going up, coming down, signs for speed humps that I can't figure out if this is a warning or an invitation.
It's interesting. That person's going to be disappointed with the full bike lane coming to Kearney soon.
The big bike lobby, it's, at the Colorado Capitol, we always look left and right, like you got the oil and gas lobby, and then right next to them, big bike. They're coming for you.
Do you ever think about the interests that are not represented by lobbying groups?
Yeah, all the time.
Like who are big ones that are like, ooh, we just have to think about those people, even though they don't have an industry group here to represent them?
All the working class. I mean, the people who pay to have lobbyists at the Capitol are usually larger governments. Schools take a big portion of the lobbying.
Restaurant associations, corporations,
all that. The people who are really missing oftentimes are like your average consumer, your average worker. And there's some groups that are involved in that space, and they'll be brought in. And we'll probably talk about this in a future episode. Is this special session that comes up is probably going to be around AI. And there's one side of the equation that's very well represented in that space, which is all the big tech companies. And the other side that's not represented is who is AI going to take advantage of? And those people don't really have groups to go advocate for them. There's small groups, small organizations that are trying to push the envelope. If they had the influence of the the bike lobby, though. Things could be different in this town
You
or
know,
this state.
I just want to say something because I think about this a lot. Do we cover bike lanes a lot? Because this is something that we hear about a lot in our circles, in our work that we do here. Is it just get an inordinate amount of attention? And sometimes I do think it does. And the struggle that I've had over the last couple of years with the bike conversation is it is just not inclusive enough for what I wish it would cover, which is more pedestrian safety and access for folks with disabilities. Like bike lanes are great, but I remember when there was this like things in the bike lane conversation happening, and a lot of folks with disabilities were like feeling like we are that thing in the bike lane because there is no sidewalk. This is the safest place we can go. And so that's the frustration I have, is that I think if we were able to talk about bike lanes in a wider perspective, there would be a much bigger support for it, because it's about changing your idea of what you see the street as being used for. And I think my concern is just people with disabilities not having access and the speed of cars. Those are things that I think the bike folks could bring more into the conversation to make it more inclusive, I guess. But they're also going up against oil and gas. Like, good luck. It's tough.
I think they're going up against neighbors, cranky neighbors who don't like bike lanes.
But that's what I'm saying is like, how do we bring those neighbors in?
It's not oil and gas.
How do they bring those neighbors into the conversation to show that this isn't just about bike lanes? It's about safety for your neighborhood, for people just out on the street. All I'm pointing out is that's what I think is missing from the conversation, or is just not highlighted enough.
I wonder, because I do see that. There's definitely a few people that are like, and a few groups that are specifically focused on bike stuff, but I see intersectionality in the transit world. I think there's people who see the pieces and are thinking about the whole picture.
I don't want to dismiss those people. I'm saying I don't think the conversation includes that enough for folks to see that this is beyond bikes. I was one of those people that hated bike lanes when they put them on Knox Court, because I thought, you're just putting bikes on Knox Court to do what? To slow down traffic? That's what's going to make it happen. But the way that the continuation, so first it started with bike lanes. People were mad about parking. Understandably, also in my neighborhood, a lot of folks drive big trucks because they do construction work. They're not riding their bike to work. But what the city did after that was then they put in speed humps. It changed the whole dynamic. So then we had bike lanes and speed humps. It got slower for everyone, and it was great. But I didn't, like, when I first started learning about this whole fight in general, like 10 years ago, I didn't understand it. And I think that's part of it, is like, people just can't come to the table together and say, it's not just about losing your parking. There's these other benefits. How can we get you on board? And I think that's where they're trying. I know that's what bike advocates are trying to do. I don't want to dismiss what they're doing. I'm just saying sometimes the conversation is smaller than it could be.
Yeah, it becomes a conversation of like scarcity, right? They're like, there's so many limited public resources. There's literally almost so much road to go around. Is it going to go towards you, or is it going to go towards the bike? So I do understand the frustration there. Just for the record, to be clear, I know I'm wearing a Chevy
the heartbeat
jacket,
of America.
But I am pro bike. I do like biking. My wife and I bike everywhere. We live in a very bikeable area, so it's good. But yeah, the contentions are real. I mean, I will always be upset at the bike lane off of 7th Avenue that closed down Vesper's long patio. So if you know, like off of Vesper and like Sherman and Grant,
yes,
there's like Vesper used to take up that whole block, so you could have like hundreds of people at Vesper. It was amazing, which is one of the best bars in all of Denver.
That outdoor, the streetscape where it was full of.
So they had to.
Did they have to remove that?
They had to limit it all the way back to the sidewalk and just up to the bike lane. And the reason why that was that they had to close 7th Avenue between those two blocks was because of the bike lane, because there's no other bike lanes that go east to west. And then my conversation becomes like, well, why don't you just shut down the car lane portion and move the bike lane over? But then it becomes a battle of scarcity, right? Does the restaurant get the patio space? Do the cars get it? Does the bike get it?
Yeah, and
it's an interesting case study.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to go check that out today.
Happy hour at Vesper.
That's a good bar.
It's a great bar. A+. Open late. You can get late night food till 1 a.m.
I like the cocktails, the pre-made cocktails. You don't have to pay the high prices. It's a good bar.
Actually, I haven't been there in a long time. I'll have to check it out. It's right by my hair salon. Go by there.
Nice.
So, well, this conversation will be continuing. Also, we're watching the vote on the bond coming up on Monday to see what projects make it in, and then that will eventually get to voters. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, our wins and fails of the week.
At Blinds.com, it's not just about window treatments. It's about you, your style, your space, your way. Whether you DIY or want the pros to handle it all, you'll have the confidence of knowing it's done right. From free expert design help to our 100% satisfaction guarantee, everything we do is made to fit your life and your windows. Because at Blinds.com, the only thing we treat better than windows is you. Visit Blinds.com now for up to 45% off site-wide, plus a professional measure at no cost. Rules and restrictions apply.
Okay, we're back. Time for our wins and fails of the week. Things that ruled, things that sucked. As always, start with fails so we can end on a good note. Paul, what's your fail?
Oh my. How was I not ready for this?
Did you want me or Deep to go?
No, I got it. Scammers. Watch out for scammers. They're always trying to take your money.
They are.
And there was a new scam happening in Denver. Our friends at 9 News and the Denver Post have been reporting about it. And now I'm telling you. QR codes on stickers are being posted on parking meters. It started in Cherry Creek, and then last week it was in, Broadway and Lincoln. Maybe in the lead up to UMS. That would have been a dastardly scam, taking advantage of these music lovers. But watch out for these QR codes. And here's how you can know if it's fake. According to the spokesperson from Dottie, they don't use websites that take your credit card numbers. They have an app called Pay by Phone. So if you scan a QR code and it takes you to a website, don't give them your credit card number.
Okay.
And that's
good to
my
know.
fail this week.
You know,
There's
you
this
wouldn't
new
have to
scam.
be scanning to park if you just biked to wherever you're going.
That's right.
Maybe it's the bike lobby that just put the QR codes everywhere. That's how they're funded. That's alleged. That's a joke. Please don't come after me for that.
You dug your own hole there. I don't know. Shout out to the
Great
scammers.
scam.
They really figured it out. I
It's
mean, I
quite
would
a
have
scam.
fallen
Shout
for
out
that.
to the scammers.
I mean, I'm all about alternative economies. I'm not into scams, but this is like, I absolutely see how easy it is to fall for this. You're trying to get somewhere. You scan the thing, you pay, you run off. You don't know what's real.
The worst thing is I just don't think I'm ever going to get ticketed. So in my head, I'm like, if I just never pay for parking,
Yeah, I'm one of those
eventually I'll
people
get a $25 ticket for not paying.
Yeah.
But
Make it-
that
make
might
it right.
actually be cheaper
I
than
do
just street parking.
take a lot of chances there too.
Yeah. So
But it's because I'm entitled.
$25 of like a parking fine is what, 12 hours of parking. So
You do the math.
you do the math.
Well, Deep, do you have a fail?
I do have a fail. The fail is if you're very plugged into politics for some reason and you're following this, after the Trump administration and Republicans passed the big, beautiful bill that all the Republicans voted for, Colorado now is in a budget deficit of $1.2 billion. So Colorado did the responsible thing. You know, we have a Democratic trifecta. Even along with some moderate Republicans, we balanced the budget. But because of the tax implications of the big, beautiful bill, we'll likely have to either go back to a special session or use our reserve funding to find out where to get $1.2 billion from. So it's sad. It kind of reminds you that like whatever happens in DC does have a personal effect. This is money that's going to come out of Medicare, Medicaid. It could even come out of schools, infrastructure, all this stuff. Last year, we had to balance $1 billion budget. We're doing it again. And it's directly because of what happened in DC and the congressional folks who voted for it.
Wow.
So
there's a special session coming up?
special session is likely going to be either August 18th or the 25th, 3 or 4 days during one of those 2 weeks. It's going to cover this budget deficit and artificial intelligence. It will be fun.
Interesting. Well, we'll talk about that.
Yeah. Stay tuned. But that's a fail.
Brie, how about yours?
My fail, it was just the way that this story unfolded. So there's this Quick Trip purchased the land where El Rancho sits, which is near Evergreen. And it's this beautiful old building. It was a restaurant, sort of like a roadside attraction. Hasn't been doing well in recent years. I think it was closed at this point. But when Quick Trip purchased the land, they've now put forth, if anybody wants to buy El Rancho and move it, they're welcome to. And it felt so rude the way that they were like, hey, if anybody wants to move this, you can keep it. Actually, if you just move it across the street, you get a better view of the Continental Divide. So we can put our giant fucking gas station right here.
This is how I ended up with a treadmill.
How so?
I had a friend who was like, if you move this treadmill, you can have it. Now, it turns out treadmills are really heavy.
Yeah, and really hard to move.
Really
They're
hard to
cumbersome
move.
and they're heavy.
It took a day. No, I love it now, and I'm grateful to have it. But it was, yeah, sure, yeah, okay, you can have El Rancho. Great.
If anybody wants
Okay,
a 77-year-old restaurant and events venue with an asking price of $2.65 million, that includes $1 million in nearly new brewing equipment.
Oh,
Okay, well, that's
Then you can move it right across the street. They
City
would love
Cast
for you to
Brewery.
have it. So that gas station
Ooh.
can have those good views now. All right.
it is a great gas station. A Quick Trip's one of the best. Love a Quick Trip.
I'm biased towards 7-Eleven. I gotta support my people.
Same. I mean, I just grew up with 7-Eleven, so that's where I like to go.
That's where it is.
Although they're always wild. I've never been in one where there's something not weirdly nefarious
My
happening.
sister owns 4 7-Elevens, so I really gotta support
Is that
it.
true?
Oh
Yeah.
my God, I want to
So-
talk to her. I'm so
Yeah,
fascinated.
So she's gonna be in town this weekend. Should I bring her on?
got
So 40% of the franchised gas stations and independent liquor stores are owned by the South Asian community.
Huh.
So it's kind of like the niche we fell into. It sounds stereotypical, like, oh, I've been
I'm
to
thinking of
7-Eleven.
The
I've seen-
Simpsons. And
But yeah, but it's a
Apu.
thing. It's like, Indian Americans, South Asians in particular really do invest into small businesses. So that's what my sister does.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
She crushes it. I am a dumbass who went to law school. Entrepreneurship was where it was at, kids.
All right, let's do wins. Steve, do you have a win?
I do have a win. It's a little bit old, but I'm here to partly evangelize, partly to bring it back. You may have seen that the governor stopped the bridge project. And if you know what that is that there was going to be a bridge on in front of the Capitol. It was going to cost $30 million, part little bit of taxpayer money, a lot of private money was going to go. This was the 150th anniversary of Colorado, 250th anniversary of America.
Which would be next August, yes.
But now they're still looking for a new project, right? And to Governor Polis's credit, the survey came back, 94% of people said we don't want a bridge, but many people did say we want something. So my win is that they're no longer going to do the bridge and they're open to new ideas. And my win is that the idea that we should be pushing forward are big blue animals all across the state. Imagine like Lucifer and the big blue bear and blue animals everywhere. And you take that $30 million that would have gone to the bridge, you split it up to 12 cities, everyone gets like $1 million to $2 to $3 million, and you get a blue animal. So, of course, Fort Collins, Boulder, you get a buffalo, you get a ram. Colorado Springs, you get a lynx maybe. But like maybe someone
Let's
gets a
do
prairie
some
dog.
smaller ones. Let's
Yeah.
do like Lamar, Lock Bowie,
It'd
I
be
don't know,
amazing.
Rico, Minkus. Let's
And then you
get it
get-
out there.
You get this amazing map of Colorado when you visit, and there's all these little blue animals places, and you want to go do it.
This is amazing.
It can become a thing that neighborhoods start adopting and be like, hey, what's your big blue neighborhood like animal there? It becomes a physical thing. We have become so focused online and the internet and all that. Having these physical art projects everywhere could be huge. It could be amazing. So I need all the Denver City Cast folks, every person listening, to start being like big blue animals.
I 100% support this as it supports the arts community. Thank you.
You do?
If it
Hundreds
pays,
of
if it
jobs
pays
everywhere.
artists $1 million in small towns across the state,
Hopefully it's not like Lucifer that they have to kill their, the creator.
oh,
May he rest in peace.
yes, please.
Maybe better for artists that they survive their
I
creation.
like it.
This is a fantastic idea.
It's an amazing
I
idea.
love this idea.
This is best.
Paul, what's your win?
Also blue. Also blue.
Is
The Avalanche, they're the beat reporter, Adrian Dater, who has an email. He apparently heard some rumors about a new uniform. Now, every year they do like a special, the league does like a special uniform. It's been every year the last couple of years. And 2 years ago, they had a very popular one, extremely popular. The Avalanche did a throwback uniform where they took the style and design of the Quebec Nordiques, which was the team that moved to Colorado in 1995 to become the Avalanche. So they took that old uniform and they made it the Avs colors. It was white and burgundy and blue. It was beautiful. Sold out. You still can't find it anywhere. So the rumor is that they're going to bring that back again, but they're going to use the Nordiques' other uniform, the powder blue, which was the more iconic Nordiques uniform. And put some Avalanche twist on it, which would be a huge win for the whole Kroenke Sports Corporation. which I'm a big fan of all their products, and I think it'd be a cool thing to see. So I'm pretty excited for them. I have mixed feelings about the fact that they use the Nordique stuff personally, but I think
don't
that's
like
really
Canada
cool.
or
Well, no, my family's Canadian.
Yeah.
Well, I did a story. We'll put it
Yeah, I
in
was
the
gonna
show
say, we
notes
did a
about
story
the
about this.
history of this uniform and what the team and what these logos mean to the Quebecois. So if you want to learn more about that, you can. But it should be good for the team to
When
have
is
these
that?
uniforms.
Do we know when that comes out?
Probably when the season starts.
When is that?
September, October. I'm
We'll
sure
be
they'll
watching
announce
for that.
these before then, though.
we're big hockey fans here. It's funny, but like growing up as like a child of immigrants in an Indian family, I thought hockey had a much bigger cultural resonance than it did. Because when you're growing up in the 90s and the 2000s, you got the Mighty Ducks, you got the Miracle on Ice, you got like, all this like
1980.
anthem and stuff. And then you grow up and you're like, oh, that's not really America's thing.
Yeah, it's kind
That's
of
how we
niche.
fought, Russia that one time, but nah. And the Mighty Ducks aren't real.
Well,
But the Nordiques were real.
they were real. The Mighty Ducks were real for a while.
Wait, were they?
Yeah, no, when Disney bought a franchise, and there was a team called, it was my favorite team as a kid because of the show and the
I didn't know.
movies. The what was the actual, the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim, and it was eggplant and teal
makes
uniforms.
sense. Anaheim. Yeah.
And I loved it. And then the company sold the team, and then they renamed it the Anaheim Ducks, and they took away all that great old branding that was attached to the movies, and they're trying to bring it back now. They'll probably do some reverse retros on those too, new uniforms.
Well, we'll be
Anyway,
watching for
that's
those.
that. We don't have to talk about that anymore.
I have my win, and we can close out.
Yes.
A good story about the bond. We were talking about there are other projects in this bond, and $20 million has been set aside in the bond to build an American Indian cultural embassy out by the airport. And Denverite reports that many of the details are still undetermined, but the facility could serve as a gathering space and cultural hub for tribes with ties to the Denver area.
It could.
I mean, there's no plan yet. It's just the money's potentially being set aside in the bond. So
See, it's a perfect
another
example.
good bond story.
Isn't that interesting? Like, what is that?
Yeah.
Shouldn't we know more details about that before $20 million goes in there and we vote on it?
The pitch is they're like, hey, we're going to give you this by the airport. And what if Spiral?
Also, the spiral.
Also
It's
the
like,
Spiral.
We're going to
Oh,
start
no,
building
that's-
those all over the state.
oh boy.
The new 14ers.
It's like, what else is in there? Who does anyone have? Presumably, city council has had time to like pour through all the line
Well,
items.
yeah, I was
and
like, we got a
assess all
breakdown.
this. And,
Monday live show will be at City Council unveiling as they vote. We're not doing a live show.
live from City Council.
Live from City. That would be fun.
All right.
That
Well,
would be fun.
Paul, Deep.
Oh, I have one more thing. I'm sorry. I have a plug. I was on my friend John Ekstrom's podcast. He's got a new podcast. He's been doing this pod stuff around Denver as long as I have. New show's called Off the Clocks. We had a good conversation. He asks guests what's a place that brings you joy, and then you record there. So for me, we recorded at the Chipotle on 16th Street on the patio, and we talked a lot about that. It was
Good
fun.
job on the name.
Yeah.
Nice.
What, Off the Clock?
No, you said 16th Street.
Oh yeah, of course. No, I'm good. I'm savvy. I'm on it. There never was a mall. I've never heard of the mall.
What is the mall?
What are you talking? What is that?
David Blatt from Mortified, the Mortified Show, sent me a picture, and there's signs all over 16th Street that say like no vaping on the mall, and they're brand new signs.
Oh really?
what?
Yes. He was like, so someone didn't get the memo, but we'll see. All right. Well, Paul, Deep, thank you so much. This has been so fun.
See you next time.
It's an audio format. You might want to say goodbye.
Oh, yeah. Goodbye. Sorry. I don't know. I'm just saluting, guys.
That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. Our producers this week were Paul Caroli, Olivia Jewel Love, Selena C.A. Reynolds, and Adrian Gonzalez. Adam Sage edits the video for YouTube. We record at Dude IDK Studios in 5 Points with support from Jacob Rupp and Nick Holmby. Peyton Garcia writes our morning newsletter, Hey Denver. Abby Madigan runs our social media. I'm Bree Davies, your host. Our music is by Los Mocochetes with additional mixing by Tyler Lindgren. If you haven't already, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at CityCast Denver and tell Do Better Denver about us next time you see them. You can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Denver neighbor today at membership.citycast.fm. And you can sign up for our daily newsletter and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. See you next week.